What are you going to do in its place, right? So we're saying we're going to burn one system down, but we have a lack of clarity on what the new system will be. So when Sean King comes out and says, look, Democrats, be careful what you're asking for because you're saying vote all these people out, I think what he's also saying is, well, we may want change, but it's not necessarily the letters after their name that needs to change. It's kind of where some of these things have been done. And I do think there's probably some truth in the black community where they feel very taken advantage of by the Democratic Party, and they just have disregarded the GOP. And this is where the socialist movement has really engaged a lot of the folks on the left with AOCs and Ilhan Omar's. Whereas on the right, we're just sitting there going, well, we want facts, we want solutions, and they just kind of don't, they're not even hearing us calling for those things.
So where do you think this is going in the big picture? Is this helping out Trump?
Oh, I think it's way too early to tell.
Yeah.
I would say if the election was probably in August, I would say a strong maybe. But again, still 52-48 kind of thing, right? We're talking about a very split country. It's still about turnout. I will say that there's cities can be burning. We're seeing Seattle and Baltimore, Minneapolis, Chicago, New York, these massive cities, and all this outrage and protest, massive numbers. California, of course. But then you're also seeing smaller cities, either come in closer, focus on the police departments, or they have great police chiefs who are like, no, we're not doing that. So middle to small cities have done that. You even see San Jose is a big high-profile one. I was shocked at how they've handled things. Then I think you have a large faction of America who are still, to be honest, it's not affecting me. I got to go to work. I got to get it with my kids. Where's daycare, summer camp? What's going on with COVID? What about my job? Do I have a job? How's my business? There's a lot of things going on where people are like, there's like so many different factors happening. That's why I say it's way too early to predict all that.
Yeah, I really think they should look at reform. That's totally acceptable thought and policy, and get away from these Looney Tune ideas because it's going to be very devastating.
What are some of the reform ideas that you've heard that you like?
I haven't.
You haven't?
No.
Okay, so one I think of, so a couple I like. One I like was there are some immunity clauses that the unions have put in place for certain police departments. And some of them are not worded properly. So loosening those up, not necessarily wiping them out completely, but loosening them up so we can go after officers that have done something really egregious that would basically, kind of like the assault and battery thing. And a lot of them are getting off or getting lesser sentences because of those immunity clauses. Again, politicians are awful at wording bills. You and I talk about this our entire lives together. But I think that can be something that could be talked about.
What about police unions? I mean,
we're not going to have control over whether or not a city is going to have a police union.
Right.
They're going to push back exactly on what I just said.
But again, this is very important, right? We look at states. Remember, the United States, the states created the United States, and even the lower levels of government, cities, they should be considered as laboratories for innovation. And if Minneapolis wants to do this, we can sit back and watch.
No, I think we're seeing that.
Yeah, and we can sit back and say, that's not working the way they're saying it's going to. Minneapolis is in a county, I think it's Hennepin County, Minnesota. What's going to happen to that sheriff department? Are they going to have to cover the city also? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that people aren't looking at.
Yeah. I do want to tease something will come up later, we'll probably get to it, is that a lot of people are using Camden, New Jersey as some sort of model. And I'd be able to do an analysis of that and what Camden, New Jersey actually turned into after they kind of adopted a reform. So stay tuned for that clip. We'll get to that later on in the show. But I don't know of other reform. I don't know what they mean. Like, I think there's a lot of things. People are talking about banning chokehold, banning an actual maneuver. I don't know if that's appropriate or not.
I'm not necessarily opposed to that.
Right. I do think there probably should be, I don't even know who should pay for this, but I would definitely think there should be some money. We talked about it last week, the excited delirium thing. There is something going on there. People that are hopped up on a drug, hopped up on an illicit material of some kind. They get this incredible strength. And then when they're crashing on that, heart rates are dropping, blood pressures are dropping. If they're heavy, obese, have a heart disease problem, so many people are at risk of having serious injury. So, there are topics, but again, I have such little faith that people know how to write a bill, write change, and write form. I just don't have faith in that.
By the way, where are the police in Seattle?
Seattle. Wow, that's a topic. We could run a whole segment just on Chaz.
Yeah.
That's our biggest story right now is
Yeah.
Chaz. I was pretty early on adopting the detailed analysis of the demands they put on medium.com of these are our 30 demands, and it was basically the abolition of, completely removed, forget about, we're talking about reform, talking about defund, no. It says abolition of prisons, police, court. They want all of the criminals retried. They want records expunged. They want free housing. And it was like, Chaz is being allowed to exist as a state within the state. I don't even understand how this happened.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't it say at the front door of Chaz, you are leaving the United States?
Yeah.
But, it's funny because, I've talked about the kids that I work with in the past.
Yeah.
And I introduced them to Chaz today. Nobody knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, somebody said that was our first comment on the story was like, we don't even talk about, I Googled it and can't find it. I'm like, it's on Medium.
So they looked it up and they're like reading somebody's article about it, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. I can go up there and chill and have vegan food and do all that kind of stuff.
There's no vegan food.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
The homeless people stole the food. There's no food.
I know.
So I joked today because I had a couple people ask me about this story because it's getting kind of viral. Maybe we're on the front end of that or not, I don't know. But I said, when you watch Lost, they lasted for about 4 or 5 days before it started to drift into anarchy, right? You watch Walking Dead, you had a few weeks. It was all right. You did okay. Chaz lasted 2 days, and you got some rap guy who has an AK-47 over his back. He's implemented borders with stop and frisk and authoritarian measures, and he was, quote, on Twitter, said, I'll shoot your brains out.
Right.
So it took 2 days.
And they're complaining about the police.
Yeah. It took 2 days to have a warlord rule. Not like the authoritarian because as far as I know, I don't know that I have faith that Trump knows how to use an AK-47. But as far as I know, he's not patrolling the streets with one or wants to have that as the case. This is nuts.
Right. And again, going back to last week and talking now, where are the police? Where are they supposed to be? What about those businesses within Chaz?
I was told they were told to stand down. Everybody was told to stand down.
Exactly.
And they have looted and taken over the stores they didn't like, and some of the ones they do like are protected. That's what I was told. Now,
probably for a fee too.
I have not been able to fact check that.
Yeah.
I have not been able to fact check that at all.
But nonetheless, how is that even allowed to happen?
Well, I don't know if it's the mayor or I don't know how the politics work
even
there.
The governor said
they
he was unaware.
They just stood down. No, he played ignorant.
Exactly.
Right, but they basically just stood down. So yeah, Chad. So anyway, we've covered a lot. Hey, we're News Talk with Brandon and Bob. We're here to tell you about some of the facts so you don't have to waste your time watching CNN.
We don't want you wasting any time with CNN.
Or Fox, or MSNBC, or some of these other guys that are making a whole lot of money.
Et cetera, et cetera.
It's not paying.